Okay, welcome back to the Adventure Within channel. My name is Andrew Fritz. I'm a clairvoyant healer and meditation teacher. And in this video, I would like to talk about waking up to the images in your mind. And what am I talking about here? These images, there's a part of ourselves, there's three core aspects of our soul. And there's one part that's kind of, you can call the reasoning self, or a reasoning part. And this part of us communicates via mental image pictures. And so that's what I mean by images in our mind, these mental image pictures. And I'll provide a specific example of waking up to one of these images. But this is very much like when it comes to sleep and dreaming. Um, if you ever heard of lucid dreaming, again, it's just when your body's asleep and you're having a dream, and within the dream you realize, oh, wait a second, yeah, something's off here, something's kind of strange. Oh yeah, I'm dreaming. And you know that you're dreaming while you're in the dream. That's a lucid dream. And I had an experience where was basically having a regular sleeping dream, and it started to shift. The kind of the tone of it was shifting more into a darker kind of nightmare quality. And I was trying to avoid that in the dream. And in that process, I became aware that I was dreaming. It turned into a lucid dream. And, I basically freed myself up from, the nightmare. And, that's kind of like similar to the waking state. We have, you could essentially look at a dream as just a mental image picture, really. And so we have these, what is meditation all about? Yeah, part of it is waking up to these images in your mind. And when you wake up to an image in your mind, it is very similar to when your body's asleep and you become conscious in the dream. Oh, okay. You're aware that, oh, it's just a dream and I can kind of do whatever I want now, for the most part. You're freed up. You're not beholden to that dream. And or if it's a nightmare, whatever it was, right? Whatever type of dream. And so that's similar in the waking state when you're meditating and you become aware of um, being, essentially anytime we feel stuck in life, we're kind of running into one of these or a series of these images in our mind. We're just unconscious of that. But when you meditate and you kind of go deeper down the spiritual rabbit hole, so to speak, you start to become aware of these images. And really, if you open up your third eye and start to develop as a clairvoyant, you really start to see the images very clearly, these mental image pictures. Um, but it is similar to the dream state, especially with lucid dreaming. You become aware and, oh, okay, now I'm not beholden to this. I'm freed up. There's freedom here. And you can remain in that lucid dream, or you could just decide to come out of it and wake up, physically in bed. Um, and so what is it like when say in the waking state or, in meditation where you're becoming aware of an image? And so I'll give you one example of one, and this is one that, um, yeah, something I'm kind of working on. So I'll share that. So we've all heard this phrase. We may have said it or heard it or whatever, but um, life is hard, and there's been different variations of that, right? Life is hell or life is tough or whatever. And yeah, it is sure it's tough being down here. The experience in this dimension, on this planet, sure, yeah, it can be tough, absolutely. Um, but so you might go, oh, well, if you're waking up to an illusion, essentially this is, it's a picture, it's an illusion. And what would be the alternative? Am I saying that, oh, life is just going to be perfect? And no, not at all. Or that, there's never going to be challenges. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's not necessarily going to be picture perfect or sure, there's going to be challenges. And that's how we tend to grow and evolve and change, learning through those, certain challenges. But it doesn't have to be this constant hardship, this constant struggle, constant effort. It doesn't have to be like that, but we might subscribe to that just because that's the programming, that's the image that we kind of took on, whether you're conscious or unconscious of that, maybe just kind of in your upbringing, right? Your conditioning just through, family group and relatives and friends you're growing up with and schools and church and religion and all sorts of stuff, right? A lot of different factors that play into that. And so this is the fun thing with, meditation and developing different psychic abilities, especially clairvoyance, where you start to get to take a look at this and go, oh, wait a second. Well, this is not my truth. What is this here? And so that's an image in our, and I'm sure some people they might not relate to this. Life is hard. But I think a lot of people can relate to that. I certainly can. And oh, okay, this is just an image. That's just a mental image picture. And it's not that I've been unaware of this. I've been unaware of this for a long time, but because it's still there, I haven't fully forgiven myself to let that go. Oh, okay. Because that's the big key to healing, right? Is forgiveness. And certain things are easy to forgive, and other things it's a process, it's a journey, and that's totally okay. And and just your awareness alone, your awareness is incredibly powerful, and that's a massive chunk to your healing process. Because if you're not aware of something, then well, you're just unconscious of it. There's nothing really you can do. So your awareness is a big factor, and that's the thing with meditation and especially clairvoyance, when you can start to see these images in your mind and go, oh, okay, wait a second. Especially this example of, wow, there's this life is hell or life is tough picture. Okay, well, where did this originate from? This I don't necessarily need to subscribe to this anymore. Well, where did it come from? Okay, interesting. And you know again, it's very similar to the comparison of dreaming, where you could have a basically, because life is tough or life is hard. That's a very like a waking nightmare, right? And anything you might experience as or consider a nightmare in your waking state, it's typically not your energy. And sometimes we're just not aware of that. And yeah, this type of image that says, life is tough, life is hard, and then that's going to be a part of, then that's going to make our reality, right? That's going to set a tone to some degree that, oh, okay, everything I'm experiencing in life, or this one part or multiple parts of my life is just, wow, it's just tough, it's hard, there's a lot of effort. And, but obviously, if you look around the world, that's not everybody's experience. A lot of people probably can relate to that, but it's not everyone's experience. And like I said, this is very similar to dreaming. You could have a total nightmare, where everything in the dream is just total effort and struggle, or could be about anything, right? Um, and this is the kind of to show you the comparison. And you just wake up from that, and you just go, okay, thank God that that dream or that nightmare is over. Or you could become conscious in it. You could become lucid and free yourself up. That's why really a lot of people that teach lucid dreaming, they'll talk about how you can use it to kind of help get over, like repeated nightmares. You're just becoming aware. Again, your awareness is powerful in healing. So same thing with things that you would consider waking nightmares, or just God, this part of my life is really tough. This is not going so well. And so it's a matter of becoming aware of the energy and the image or multiple images that are dictating that part of your life, such as this one of, life is tough, life is hard. And becoming fully aware of that and kind of forgiving and dropping it, letting it go. And then, well, what's underneath that? If that was dictating a part or multiple parts of your life, what's underneath that? What is more of your energy actually? And that's a fun discovery because it's just like, oh, okay. I thought this was just the way life is, and I just have to kind of go with that. And not a lot of people realize that they can kind of shift and change their reality. And so if you start to wake up and go, oh, this life is hard, image in my mind, this is a lie. It's a total lie, and I was kind of handed it. And if I fully wake up to it and dissolve it or let it go, then what? How is this part of my life or multiple parts of my life going to change? And, if I start operating more on my own energy, oh, well, then how is it going to shift? What's it going to look like? It's going to be different, and it will probably more exciting because it's you're running off of your energy at that point. And that's going to be, again, liberating and exciting and really joyous. And I think that's something that we're all seeking. And the key is really is meditating and discovering these illusions, these lies in our mind, these limitations and beliefs that we carry and hold on to. Um, whether we created them ourselves or we picked them up from other people. A lot of this gets just kind of conditioning from childhood and all that. Um, and stuff can be also related to past lives. That can be an influence. There's all many different factors in this, but if you, yeah, if you start to wake up to this, this is incredibly powerful. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't meditate though. I can't even get to the place where you're talking about, Andrew, about, waking up to these images." And, everybody can meditate. We can all do this. Um, it's just having the right tools and techniques to kind of get you to a space where you can quiet things down. You can kind of ground yourself and kind of have a sense of being centered and kind of composed and neutral and not in judgment or in a fight mode or in an effort state. And that you can kind of just be and start kind of looking. And because a spirit, the quality of spirit, at least one of them is non-effort. And we are so used to efforts, and it's nice to kind of start to learn to operate as the spirit that we are in our body. And so when you kind of dial down the noise and the chaos and all that we're so used to, and because all the thoughts start popping up, and but once you have some tools and techniques, a little bit of information, you can start to tune that down. And when it's a little more quiet, a little more manageable, oh, okay, now I can start to free myself up and start to look at these images in my mind. And some are really easy to just, oh, yeah, here's this image and here's the energy of it, and okay, I'm going to let that go. There's many of those that are very easy to let go. It's just there's going to be certain ones that are there's more of a charge. You've a lot more resistance to it. And I find those are the ones where um, and sometimes that could be related to trauma, and there's just so much energy on it. Even just being able to become aware of it, that could be a journey of unfolding that and unpacking that, and being able to be aware of it and process it and all that. And sometimes it's just very something simple. To someone else it might seem really silly, but to you, even if it's a simple moment where in your life, especially when you're young, where you get judged or invalidated or punished or whatever in some way, it can still take a while to work through that. If there's a lot of resistance and energy on it, unconscious energy, and and that's okay. Again, this your self-discovery and self-healing process. It is a journey. Um, this to me is for me, it's a lifelong commitment. Once I kind of awaken spiritually, some people might think that's the okay. Now you're awake. There's nothing more to do. But for me, that was the very beginning. Being aware that I'm spirit, that I'm not my physical body, that was just the beginning. Then there's this tremendous discovery and healing that has taken place after that, and it continues to this day and probably the rest of my life, really. And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in really coming back to wholeness and having all my abilities on and being able to use them, and have access to my creativity and for just to have fun experiences and to create things that I might enjoy, but also be able to share my wisdom. That's really important to me. But yeah, we can all get to a certain place where we can sit and meditate and start to wake up to these images in our mind. A lot of them will be pretty easy. It's just kind of like, if you went to the post office and there's a bunch of mail in your mailbox, and you're like, wow, there's so much mail in here. What is all this? And you start to look through it and start to read the names, and you go, this is not even my mail. And you just start to toss this out, toss that out. A lot of it's pretty easy, but there's going to be some that are going to take longer inevitably. And it just means there's unconscious energy, there's a lot of resistance, and you work through that little by little, just through healing and forgiveness. And then you get to a point where, and those bigger ones, the bigger images in your mind that take longer, usually they have the bigger impact once you're able to let those go or resolve them at least. And that's usually a bigger life change. Each image in your mind that you let out, then that's your you're closer to the truth, right? You're a more aware and one step closer to your truth. But those bigger pictures, that usually creates a much bigger change. Um, but yeah, so I think this is really important to be aware of that. Oh, okay, yeah, there's these images in my mind, and this is something to take a look at, I think. And so that's something that we offer, that we have a basic meditation series where people can start to have kind of get set up in the way that I feel grounded, I feel centered, and have a certain way of cleaning out my energy system and kind of getting it all adjusted where I can finally sit in meditation and start to look at some of this stuff. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised of what is in there and be able to kind of work through it. And it's a big relief because you'll start to realize, oh, this is not my truth. Oh, thank God. I thought that was mine and that's just the way it is. And you can toss that out. And then it's just this super fun discovery process of, okay, well, if that's not my energy or picture and all that, what is? And you get to discover that, and it's so exciting and incredibly rewarding. I think being on your spiritual path, it is difficult. It's not, there's going to be a lot of growing. I think back in the day there was probably I think a show called like Growing Pains. It's kind of like that. Yes, there's going to be some growth, but you can handle it. Anytime it feels unbearable, um, it might just be other people's energy on how you're changing and growing and evolving. And I find that when you shed that, um, you can handle your own growth, not a problem. Yeah, some growth periods seem a little bigger than others and a bigger deal. But you can get through it. And you just gotta, what I always find that when I'm in that process of growing and changing and in transition and transformation, it's weird and uncomfortable and there's uncertainty and what's going on. And reminding yourself of what am I growing towards? That's the biggest thing. I remember when I was in my clairvoyant trading, my teacher, I mentioned something that I said like, oh, these crappy growth periods. Because, when you get into spirituality and do this type of energy work, you're going to induce many, many growth periods and they just get bigger and bigger. And essentially you want that. But I didn't realize that then. It was just kind of like, oh man, this sucks and crappy growth periods. And he just reminded me of, well, what are you growing towards? And oh yeah, you're growing towards your dreams and trying to fulfill what you're really here to do. And that's super exciting to wake up to, why did I set up this life? Um, there's so many things to look at. That's the coolest thing about clairvoyance is you can look at everything is energy. You can look at anything. And sure, there's certain things about this world that are interesting to look at, but I ultimately find um, looking at yourself, your spirit, you're timeless, you're eternal, you're immortal. And, if you're listening to this video, you're probably spiritual, consider yourself spiritual to some degree, and you've had many past lives. And, there's a lot of wisdom there and a lot of experiences you had as a soul on this planet with different bodies. Maybe you've been on different other planets as well. So there's a lot of fascinating things to look at and become aware of and start to kind of go, oh, this energy over here, that's not mine. Um, or these qualities are more kind of ego based and oh, here's the qualities of the spirit that I am. Wow, interesting. So it is quite fascinating. And yeah, that's just one of these topics I thought I'd kind of bring light to, waking up to the images in your mind.